Comcast. 1 minute and 24 seconds of opening credits. Knowing who made the film does not give me any confidence of its quality. With Gerard Butler as the lead, this could be anything on the spectrum, from law-abiding citizen to den of thieves, and I refuse to commit to which end of that spectrum I prefer. Gerard Butler is in a disaster movie cliché? No, not just Geostorm. I'm using the broader definition, which also includes Gods of Egypt, The Bounty Hunter, and movie 43.
Why hasn't the concrete pour started yet?
Film about an adulterous structural engineer from Britain does not contain a lock.
I know you do, but I gotta sign the invoice. Okay.
Well, just sign it now and I'll hold on to it until we're finished.
Something about signing off on work before it's done makes me feel like, had the world not ended, this was going to come back to bite John in the ass. Like, even if the comet misses the Earth on Monday morning, John's going to have to explain to his boss how a whole truckload of concrete went missing.
You know, they're saying this will be the closest comet flyby in history.
We all knew this exposition via multiple news reports was coming, but it doesn't make it any less tedious. My God, this movie has so much of it that if we played it back to back, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't even need to watch the movie.
NASA's saying it appeared out of nowhere from like a different solar system.
NASA did not say that. There are several things I would believe NASA said, ranging from the incredibly boring to the absolute mind-blowing, but this thing came out of nowhere, man, is not one of them. Wasting 1 full minute of screen time on this commute footage. That scooter was definitely not on the stairs when he pulled in the driveway.
You scared me, I didn't hear you.
To be honest, there really is no way to avoid startling someone who is running on a treadmill while listening to music, and with their back to the door. No wonder this marriage failed with these unrealistic expectations.
How long is this gonna be awkward for?
Long enough for me to watch Moonfall, be disappointed, and still be back in time to catch more awkwardness. So, probably too long?
No, John, it's not like I'm trying to make it that way.
No, much easier to leave it to a complete and total lack of chemistry between your two leads.
Mr. Williams said Clark is like a big snowball but made of gas.
This is a really confusing description when you think about it. A snowball made of gas? Comets are giant ice balls that give off a tail of gas when they get too close to the sun. Now, I'm not expecting Nathan to know this, but why would Mr. Williams think a giant ice ball would be harder to comprehend than a giant snowball?
Asteroids made of farts, okay? I got it.
Dad jokes.
How's this thing working out?
Hollywood truly believes that most audiences are filled with a bunch of assholes that couldn't possibly sympathize with a couple unless they're on the brink of divorce, or won't give a shit about a kid unless they have a medical complication. I don't care that it becomes a major plot point. Doubling down on your sin just gets double sins.
In fact, Clark's fragment trail is so long, the end stretches beyond what astronomers can actually see.
You know, it's not the length of the fragment trail, it's the depth of the impact. I'm pretty sure if the comet is a matter of days away, they'd be able to see the whole damn thing. But let's just say they can't. Why would they even assume there's more to see? Wouldn't they just think that's the end of the comet? Yes, we find out later that the government is deliberately hiding the planet-killing part that's being referred to here. But in that case, why mention it at all? If you've managed to keep every amateur astronomer on the planet quiet, why are you tipping off news outlets with this unnecessary detail?
Some of Clark's larger fragments are now expected to enter our atmosphere.
Despite only being 10 minutes into the movie, we have somehow seen over 90 minutes of news reports. I'm not even mad. That's impressive. Except I am, of course, mad about it.
How are things?
Okay, Jer, I'm gonna give you a nickel's worth of free advice. There are certain questions where the sliding scale of thumbs up to thumbs down is perfectly acceptable. How was golf? Perfectly acceptable. Good day at work? Totally fine. How's the relationship with the mother of your child? Not so much.
We're gonna need some more beer and wine, so can you go to the store for me?
Sure, John needs to go to the store so we can get our first taste of all the disaster movie red flags, like sudden troop deployments and whatnot. And there's surely a quota of married people tropes we have to hit, so I assume the writers thought this was a sweet twofer. But these two have been talking about their son's party since yesterday and couldn't bother to have this discussion more than an hour before the party. In an odd turn of events, the sin here is parents. A full 34 seconds of actual grocery shopping. This is why your movie is 2 hours long.
All right, some Bud Light.
Naming the product but keeping it off screen is somehow more annoying than showing it to me.
Oh, I like those ones.
On the other hand, showing the product but not naming it is somehow even more annoying still.
Allison Rose Garrity.
Conveniently noisy hairdryer is, well, it's actually very inconvenient. But as far as convenient plot devices go, it's very... you get the picture. Why would this extremely important message dismiss itself after barely a minute, or at all for that matter? The government pushed this message to all of John's devices to minimize the chance of him missing it. So why not leave it up there for a while? There's literally nothing more important he needs to be watching right now, apart from maybe Top Chef.
Scientists say the dispersive wave distance is unlikely to cause a tsunami.
Unlikely? Talking about a goddamn tsunami! Not the chances of unseasonable snow. When it comes to natural disasters, unlikely still means run for the bunker in my book. The Shockwave clearly has an eye for aesthetics, as it decided to blow out all these windows with extreme prejudice, but not this beautifully ornate one in the door. I totally buy that news stations would want to show this footage, but I don't believe that they would actually be allowed to show it with little more than the standard, hey, this is some f***ed up shit. especially since this helicopter crew was obviously killed. Also, it turns out that the government knew all along that this was going to hit land instead of sea, hence the evacuation jets and presidential alerts. But this means that there is a swath of astronomers, scientists, military personnel, and government officials that they managed to straight up lie to or keep silent. I'm not saying this is impossible, but man, it's pretty impossible.
Your QR code for identification has been texted to you.
Unbelievably, if you scan this QR code, it actually takes you to a YouTube clip of a scene in Geostorm, which has another QR code, and if you scan that QR code, it takes you to Netflix, which then immediately plays Don't Look Up. Try it. If it doesn't work, skip the above steps and the rest of this movie and just watch Don't Look Up. Also, I can't rely on QR codes to work when I've got a Groupon for a free sub, so there's no f***ing way I'd be using them to confirm the identities of people selected to rebuild civilization during a global emergency.
Everything's fine. We're just rushing because we really don't want to miss that plane, okay?
But there's always time for sandwiches.
Where's Nathan?
I thought he was with you.
Holy shit. We are mere minutes into this disaster, and the movie is already pulling a "we lost the kid" fake out. I mean, it's pretty obvious they'll get separated at some point, but they haven't even left the goddamn house yet. Are we really supposed to believe this is where it happens?
Just please give us a call if you find out anything when you get there.
You know I will, Ed.
We know he will not.
Wait! Stop!
Deb's last-ditch effort to get them to take her daughter makes me wonder why none of their neighbors just followed them to the airbase to try and snag an extra seat, or at least get more information. In fact, judging by the crowd we see later, I think that's exactly what's been happening elsewhere. I guess these guys care about their families more than Deborah does. Deborah.
I don't get why we were selected.
Seriously, dude? There's a cataclysmic comet headed towards Earth, a fragment of which you just saw level the entirety of Tampa, and you're a structural engineer. How are these pieces not fitting together for you? Does Michael Bay not exist in this universe?
Damn it, John!
Marriage. Most of this movie doesn't happen without this insulin mishap, meaning most of this movie didn't need to happen. Interpret that as you like.
But you hate planes.
A fact that is never referred to again, so I am left to wonder, why are you wasting my time with more superfluous character traits? Wait, what was that sudden darkening in aid of? Do they really think this was going to keep the crowd silent, like throwing a towel over a fucking canary? American Airlines. Huh, that's weird. Just popped right out for some reason.
Where's this medicine? I put it in here. It's gone.
I'm gonna go get it.
I will remove all the sins if he makes it back, and what the movie actually ends up dealing with is strained relationships and parenting through a disaster. But I have a feeling it's going to do the other thing.
What, am I just gonna leave his insulin?
I initially thought the kid was to blame for everything because he misplaced his insulin in the car. But actually, this entire cluster of a travel nightmare is caused by John's overwhelming desire to solve the problem on his own. This is a military base. There's got to be a doctor or a medic around who can point them to the closest insulin. And I know the rest of the movie doesn't happen without this decision, but the rest of the movie is mostly this family visiting airports and being stuck in traffic. So that feels like a win all around.
I'm sorry, ma'am. You should have been informed. Anyone with a chronic condition can't be on the plane.
My God, are the new founding fathers of America running this operation? I find it hard to believe kids would be excluded based on any medical ground, let alone something as manageable as diabetes. Also, it's a big ask to expect these crucially needed scientists, doctors, architects, and so on to stay motivated after you've just sentenced their kids to a fiery death by ice ball.
Ma'am, I didn't write the rule. Sorry.
Then ignore it!
If there was such a hard and fast rule about no chronic conditions, I don't see any reason why they needed to be brought to see the manager, other than setting up this scene for Allison to be put in her place for being a good mother.
What if this was your family?
My family wasn't selected, ma'am. 99% of armed forces weren't.
And right there is why government conspiracies on this scale are only ever pulled off in movie land. In order to have kept the planet-ending comet a secret from the public while still being able to set up the evacuation of America's best, brightest, and richest, you have to rely on thousands of service people keeping their mouths shut, or being willing to work totally in the dark. Eventually, the conspiracy collapses under the weight of the number of people you would have to involve in it. All it takes is one understandably disgruntled soldier whose family didn't get selected to blow this whole thing wide open.
Yeah, I'm looking for a passenger.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you think about it, getting them to hunt for John is a pretty selfish move on Allie's part. It's pretty clear that there's no room for negotiation here. Nathan isn't getting on the flight. And by finding John and telling him this, all she's guaranteeing is that he will refuse to get on the plane as well, dooming him to die with you. Let him go, Allie. He's got concrete to pour.
Have you seen a kid?
John waits until he's basically boarding the plane before asking anyone if they've seen his family, and then gives the vaguest damn description possible. And even if he had a photo, why is he asking this, with all due respect, random soldier instead of someone who looks like they're in charge and might have the ability to help him out?
I'm trying to find my wife and kid are on the plane.
He doesn't f***ing know that. The whole point is that he hasn't got a clue what plane they're on. And even if he does, his confidence of their presence will not miraculously result in their appearance.
No, wait. No, don't. Open that door.
Not saying it would have, but this plane could have started taxiing if John didn't make them stop and open this large and inconvenient door. So whatever happens to these few hundred people is directly the fault of our protagonist. Are we still rooting for this guy? Also, unless this door is single use, wouldn't this emergency exit here be a much more reasonable option if you're just letting one person off? It might be asking a lot to expect any kind of cogent motives from a mindless mom, other than to be mindless and mobby. But what was the goal here? Commandeer a military plane and coerce a pilot? There's clearly too many people here to all be carried. So who's getting on the plane and who's staying behind? I just feel like this relies on a lot of people losing their shit all at the same time with no one stopping to ask the important questions. Much like how the script was put together.
Hey, everybody get out! This fuel leak is not safe!
This fuel was put here just so John can warn everyone about it to make him look like less of an asshole for holding up this plane. This whole movie is essentially one huge example of humans making things worse by panicking during a crisis cliché. The timestamps on this phone are confusing at best. These two messages seem to refer to John asking when to come over for the dinner, which we know happened yesterday. But the timestamps say 10:55 p.m. and 11 p.m. today. Either this phone was part of some beta trial for time-traveling messages, or someone in the props department f***ed up and forgot to send those messages. It's probably the time travel thing. Convenient loss of signal to provide maximum inconvenience to our protagonists is very convenient. And we're never told why. Yes, it's the end of the world, but that's only been common knowledge for a few hours. Why would the cell phone towers be down already? Movie doesn't believe Allison or John could find an abandoned car to take from this pile-up. Jesus Christ, does society fall apart quickly? It's been what? 6, maybe 7 hours? And this place already looks like my college dorm basically when I moved in, lived in it, and moved out.
Oh, Jesus, you're at 300.
Roll credit. Oops. Wrong film. Damn it, these Gerard Butler films all blend into one.
Oh, Jesus.
Whoa, a sudden guy from The Office whose name I can't remember.
Ralph, they're wearing those bracelets that we saw on the news.
This family's refusal to give up these bracelets, despite the fact that they are pretty much useless to them now, accidentally or not. I sure hope it's worth killing a man with a hammer for. Cheering the death of millions.
So my boy Manny that's driving, he knows some pilots in Canada. They're giving some people rides to the shelters.
So what the happens if John here didn't get on this truck or become friendly Mr. Exposition? Who needs an engaging adventure when you can just rely on dumb luck to save your lead character and his family?
They've been tracking the military flights to Greenland.
Greenland?
Roll apocalypse! Ralph chooses violence and kidnapping before just asking if they can just have the wristbands. I mean, does he really think that adopting an unwilling child is an easier task than pretending to be who the wristbands say they are? No.
Where were you born? What's the matter? Matters just don't deserve that band.
Because I'm an American and I deserve to go to Greenland. Also, my God, do Allie and John have the worst luck. Now, I'm fully aware how a good portion of the human race is hot garbage, but they have managed to accidentally themselves into a child napper and 2 extremely racist individuals who are prepared to kill without remorse. And it's only been the end of the world for a few hours!
Oh my God, they're fighting!
Despite this realization, they continue driving for another half minute, and are only stopped by this reverse pit maneuver. It's like everyone in this movie is making decisions based on what would cause the highest body count. Allie has given up all hope of stopping passing cars after about 5 minutes and a few failed attempts. Look, Liam Neeson went to Europe to get his kid back, that's all I'm saying. This might be my excessive cynicism showing, and I know Allie doesn't exactly have a lot of options, but I would still be super suspicious of any car that actually volunteered to pick up a total stranger in the middle of an apocalypse. There's a 90% chance he will wake up in a bathtub a few internal organs lighter. The most unbelievable part of this movie is how many times we see these characters pushing through crowds without being elbowed, punched, or even looked at angrily.
Show them your bracelets. Show them your wristband. Okay. All right, go through. Go through.
What about the QR code? John needed more than just the damn wristband to get into the airfield earlier. Even Allie had to produce some ID. I know someone eventually scans Nathan's wristband, but that's only after he rats these two out. Apparently, the Army gave up on those extra measures just so we'd believe this plan had a chance of working.
They're not my parents!
Kids! Thank God for that treadmill scene at the start of the film. Otherwise, I would have no idea how Allie would have managed this light jogging.
We've had hundreds of kids come through here. Look, maybe try the FEMA camp across the street.
Okay, one of two things is going on here. Either A, this massive operation, which is presumably happening in every major city, was thrown together in less than half a day, or B, it was set up over the course of weeks and no f***ing noticed or questioned the sudden appearance of a small village's worth of tents and personnel. I'm just saying, in order for this to have been kept a secret, the government would have had to have deployed these resources within minutes, or have set it all in motion so early that they would never have had a hope of keeping the oncoming disaster hidden.
Listen to me! You have to wait. I need to find my son!
A lost child is no joke, and I'm happy they are reunited. I'm not a monster. But this works. She hysterically yells at a soldier and 2 volunteers who are all equally in stressful situations and somehow does not get tased. Also yelling, "Listen to me," when you are already forcing the person to do that against their will. This minute-long tension-filled search for Nathan when I know this movie doesn't have the balls to not reunite a mother and son.
Let's check the pediatric tent.
First of all, this Good Samaritan is a dick for implying there was one singular pediatric tent. Second of all, Allie gets taken into at least 7 pediatric tents, so how many are there? How many kids have been abandoned/lost to demand this amount of real estate? I repeat, it's barely been 12 hours.
And I also put together a week's supply of glucose tabs and insulin and test strips, so I wish I could give you more, but that's all we have.
I hope she meant to say, all we can spare. If she's giving Allie all that they have, then a lot of other people are going to suffer for the sake of 2 people she's literally just met. Nathan was so obscure during this group hug, I briefly thought the nurse went for a butt grab. Breaking and entering. Hey, it's still a sin. I don't care if the world is ending.
Governments continue to struggle to contain the social...
I know we've mentioned this already, but this movie has so much newseration, I'm amazed that the actors who played these reporters don't have equal billing with Morena Baccarin. I'm adding a sin, because he ultimately does survive this, and I highly doubt he returned this car. And since I just found out that they're making a sequel, I swear I'll get back all the sins from this movie if they actually pay that shit off.
Now it comes.
But why? Why did it come now? Acknowledging something's ridiculousness does not excuse you from making it ridiculous in the first place. God! John shows up unannounced and comes in through the side back door. I know that for a lot of people, entering through the side back door is the accepted standard, but given the situation, I'm shocked that he survived this.
Why are my friends stuck here babysitting me? Well, my daughter and grandson are out there alone, and I'm here with no way to find them.
From the context, I get that this is him basically saying, why are you not with them? But this question seems very confused about what information it is trying to acquire. And I'm not sure if people from Kentucky talk this way. This is supposed to be drunken rambling, or it's just poorly written dialogue.
Don't you think technology would work in emergencies?
No, you wouldn't.
I have his medication here.
You do?
Yeah, it was out of the fridge for a long time, but it should still be good.
After a couple minutes of research, for no other reason than the creation of a snarky YouTube video, I've discovered that most insulin medication will be fine at room temperature for up to a month. My problem here is that John, who has a diabetic child, appears to be guessing this fact.
We can either stay here or we can give it a shot, but if we give it a shot, I swear I will get us into those bunkers.
Making promises you have no way of knowing you can keep.
Every marriage goes through
I've been trying to work out why these end-of-the-world movies rarely make an impact on me. I think it's because it's hard to give a shit about relationship problems when I know there's a giant elephant in orbit that is rapidly on its way to make none of it matter in the slightest. Collectively, the movie spends far too much time beating us over the head with this family conflict, only for it to all be forgiven or straight up forgotten when the proverbial shit hits the atmosphere.
That don't mean you get to jump into another woman's bed.
Oh, those dirty looks earlier from Deborah and Peggy were because of John's infidelity. Now, I suspect that someone on the production team of this movie cheated on their partner and then penned this script as a way of saying, it's not like it's the end of the world.
My Mary went to heaven in this place, and when the good Lord's ready for me to join her, I'm going to be right here in this place too.
I understand the sentiment. This is still pretty f***ing selfish. What if Allie wants her father around? What if Nathan quite likes the idea of having a grandfather? We sin needless sacrifices all the time, but this isn't even a sacrifice. This is just needless.
Will I ever see you again, Grandpa?
Skip.
I love you, Sunflower.
But not as much as my dead wife.
I love you too, Dad.
But not enough to insist you come with us.
Remember she had me try to do the Highland fling? Like, I know how to do the Highland fling.
The state of his marriage would suggest he knows exactly how to do a Highland fling.
Small molten debris expected to fall in upstate New York.
Isn't that where we are?
This useless alert warns them that debris is coming down somewhere in the 40,000 square miles stretching from Buffalo to Plattsburgh. And yes, it is possible that fire may one day rain down upon all of upstate New York. The point is, if you wanted people to take this emergency warning seriously, you would have said, all of upstate New York. I'm f***ing serious. The entire thing. Because f*** this guy and his only means of escape.
Get in the back! Cover Nathan!
Yes, take off your seatbelt and remain unsecured as I drive wildly across uneven terrain. You'll be fine, I promise. John stops to bask in his hero moment right out in the open, instead of trying to get this guy to cover under the bridge, immediately forgetting about the molten debris that he was running from just a few seconds ago.
Do we even have enough time?
Well, we got just over 6 hours. Yeah, we can still make it.
Earlier, John said that the flight from Canada to Greenland would be 6 to 8 hours, and you're not even at the damn airport yet. Even if you were, why would there be any planes left? Why would they be cutting it this close? Now, I'm not saying they give up, but if this works, it is some... God damn it.
A 9-mile-wide fragment, larger than the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, will destroy most of Europe.
Why are we hearing this from the poor guy at NASA? Yeah, they're the ones who have the information, but shouldn't the president carry the burden of telling the entire country that the world is about to end?
Okay, I can take the kid. Maybe your wife.
No! We all go! You're gonna take all of us!
Mindhunter here just explained that the plane is at capacity. This family is adamant about not dying when the comet fragment hits the Earth, but they are oddly okay with dying in a plane that might run out of fuel over the ocean. Also, after barely a minute of arguing, he caves in and agrees regardless, as if the plane can fly on sympathy and goodwill alone. Apparently it can! In the car, John said they had just over 6 hours to get to Greenland. However, the plane they get on looks like a DHC-6-100 Twin Otter. It doesn't have the speed or the range to make the flight from Osgood to Thule Air Base in that amount of time. Putting this in the category of movie magic, in which having any plane allows you to travel wherever, whenever, and in whatever amount of time the plot and the pilot requires. Third act of the movie has time for this commercial sponsored by the Greenland Tourism Department.
I still don't have enough lift.
That seems like a problem caused by flying a plane with too many people on it. This is not how you land a plane. This movie dragged in whole f***ing McAnally and cast him in an unnamed role and gave him fewer lines than a f***ing news anchor just to kill him off in 9 minutes? Was Sean Bean not available?
Impact shockwave will reach us in 1 minute 20.
Wait, what? It's already landed? Now we didn't get to see the impact? Damn it! That's the only reason I watch these ridiculous things. Where's my devastation and destruction? I want to see some landmark getting f***ed up, goddammit.
10, 9, 8.
So everyone is acting like there's a solid chance that this bunker won't protect them, except for the dude who seems to be quite happy that counting down from 10 will be his last act on the planet Earth. Oh no, they died! No, just a Terrence Malick-looking montage to momentarily make us think they did. Also, this montage was on for all the undeserved amounts of redemptive sometime. Scene does not include a Golden Gate Bridge. Movie expects me to mourn the loss of Wrigley Field. John nods in approval of all the people that had to die for him and his family to get to Greenland. Humanity survives this!
Здравствуйте.
Buenos Aires. It's good to be alive.
These inspirational check-ins from around the world are super uplifting and prove that the sun will rise again on the human race. But all I'm left thinking about is that damn cement pour. Did it go ahead? Do I really have to wait for the sequel to get some kind of resolution?
You should find yourself a safe house or a relative close by. Lay low for a while, because you're probably wanted for murder.
You do it for the piece of sky we are stealing with our building. You do it for the air that will be displaced. And most of all, you do it for the f***ing concrete.
This holiday, give the gift of Peloton.
Wilson, swallow a pigeon? No, Tim, I'm ululating. I didn't know men could do that.
All right, Bud Light. You should not drink and bake.
Hello?
Listen to me. You know who I am. I'm the President of the United States.
I need to know.
I'm gonna forge new and wondrous things upside your head if you try to get me on the airplane.
Oh, Jesus, you're at 300.
It's over 9,000!
Will I ever see you again, Grandpa?
You know what the best part of my day is? For about 10 seconds from when I pull up to the curb and when I get to your door. Because I think maybe I'll get up there and I'll knock on the door and you won't be there.
Are you aiming for these people?
No. Maybe that mime.
Where are the flashes?
What flashes?
Before we died, the flashes.
And your life doesn't flash before you because you're too f***ing scared to think. You just freeze and pull a stupid face.
Not many people can do what you just did. The stunt drivers were really impressed.